Hello, folks, and welcome to a new video that I like to call Bashing the Brainless. We'll see if it makes it to a series, I don't know. This is more a series, if it happens to be one, about addressing common complaints that people have about movies, and I'll be quite frank why those views are wrong. And I'm going to start off with a movie that I feel very passionately about, as you can tell by my duds, Man of Steel. Man of Steel, for me, it was an almost perfect Superman movie. I mean, it had action, it had drama, it had heart, it had a real bona fide supervillain fight for the first time, really, since, oddly enough, Superman 2. Uh, but I've heard it get a lot of negative views in the press, and I've tried to boil it down to just the three main ones. These are the ones that I hear a lot from a lot of people, from random strangers online to guys I really respect like Brad Jones or Linkara, and assholes. But let's just keep it to three main points. I'll address this in the video. They're not in any real numerical order. They're just the ones that I feel are the three big ones. There are plenty of other problems that people address in Man of Steel. Those are also wrong, with the exception of Jonathan Kent's characterization. I feel that I'll agree with everyone on that one. That's a little fuzzy. Number 3, Lois Lane's competence. Now, it's very surprising to me how many people complain that Lois Lane was able to figure out who Clark Kent was so easily on her own, which is quite surprising to me. I mean, this woman is a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, and I feel this was the first movie to really give her any sort of intelligence. I mean, more often than not, in the movies, comics, and television shows, Lois's techniques for journalism, you could say, are to throw herself headlong into danger, shrieking at the top of her lungs, knowing Superman's coming to save her. And her great investigative skills for trying to find out Superman's secret identity is to ask him to tell her his secret identity. This was the first time, really, that Lois was smart and investigative and dug into details, backtracking through all the different stories about who did all these amazing feats similar to the guy that saved her life. And it just makes sense to me that she would be that clever, intelligent, and resourceful, and that's sticking to, trying to find the truth in the story. Now, I can understand sort of why some people didn't particularly care for this. It took some of the drama out of the next movie, you could say, or it just made it seem too easy to find out who Clark Kent was. That's not entirely true. I mean, it's not like anybody could have figured it out. I mean, yeah, you had Pete Ross who could kind of tell because, well, Clark saved his life. But really, that's about it. I mean, no one else would stare at him and go, hey, I know that guy. I know that guy on TV. He saved my life like 2 weeks ago on a fishing trawler. No one cares. And I find it very interesting that people complain about the female leads in this movie, which are, I feel, a lot stronger than the leads than Pepper Potts in Iron Man 3, which is lauded as having a very strong female character. Apparently, Hollywood equates strength to shrieking, complaining, getting kidnapped, and occasionally doing something cool, I guess. That's neither here nor there. That's the relatively small one. We'll get into the meat ones in a minute. Number 2, the devastation of Metropolis. Now, I won't make any bones about it. In Man of Steel, Metropolis got kind of obliterated. And a lot of people shoulder that blame squarely on Superman and Zod's fight, which I don't really think is fair, because there was this thing called the World Engine. Remember this? It did most of the damage to Metropolis, while Superman was on the other side of the planet, punching out the other World Engine. But let's say that's semantics, and let's say that just Superman's presence alone is the reason for Metropolis's destruction. Duh. Have you ever heard of a guy named Lex Luthor? Now, yes, a lot of fans, especially casual fans, not really into the comic books as they have modern become, normally equate Lex Luthor with some crazy, bald, mad scientist who wants to take over the world. While in more recent continuities, within the last 10 years or so, have equated Lex Luthor with a billionaire captain of industry. You know, he's very charismatic, very intelligent, loved by all, and Metropolis' favorite son until Superman shows up. And he's so spurned and angry that everyone loves Superman over him that he vows to destroy him, because he's the one guy that Luthor can't buy or control. But more than that, as time went on, Lex Luthor developed psychosis that Superman's very existence is inhibiting human potential, that he's unnatural, that he's a menace because he's an alien. Now, in normal continuity, all you really have to go on that is Lex Luthor's own insanity, because anyone with a brain can see, at least in the regular DC universe, that Superman is good, he's kind, he's compassionate, he saves the world every other week. So there's no really any merit to Luthor's idea that Superman is a threat. But have Superman utterly obliterate Metropolis in his first day on the job, yeah, people will see Lex Luthor's side of the story. People will believe that maybe Superman's dangerous, and that's a thing for the next movie. Superman will be confronted with this sort of thing, or perhaps his next solo movie, since the next one's going to be a team up. But Superman will be confronted with these problems. He will feel doubt. He will feel guilt, and it'll be up to him to save the day, come out stronger for it when Luthor reveals his own insanity. More importantly, the destruction of Metropolis is a good way for Luthor to come in and rebuild the city and get a foothold in the people's hearts because he saved Metropolis. And I know that a lot of people, in terms of collateral damage, compare this movie to The Avengers. Well, let's break that down for a minute, shall we? In Avengers, you had 6 people versus an army of shirtless, stick-wielding aliens and a bunch of space whales. Not that impressive. More importantly, let's look at the people involved on the 6-person team. You had 3 military personnel trained in Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Captain America. In fact, in Captain America, you had a legendary military figure. So they are all people who know how to fight in times of stress, and who know how to handle a combat situation properly. Then you had Iron Man, who has been in the superhero business for a couple of years, so he knows what he's doing. You have Hulk, probably been doing this a couple of years. He probably has a good idea, especially given that he is so prone to fits of mad destruction. And then you have Thor, who's a god, so he has millennia, literally millennia of experience in the Department of Warfare. By comparison, this is literally Superman's first or second day on the job. Day 1, get the suit, fly around, have a little fun, say hi to Mom. Zod shows up. Devastation and destruction. That's Superman's first day. He has no concept of get him out of the city, minimize damage, hold back so I don't destroy everything. His only plan is punch Zod until he falls down. And speaking of Zod, let's compare the two of them, again in comparison to the Chitauri invasion. On the one hand, shirtless aliens with sticks that shoot lasers and armored space whales. On the other hand, you have 2 borderline invincible, borderline physical gods, one of whom is insane and has no interest in holding back, and the other has no option to hold back because he has to stop the aforementioned lunatic. And with all this talk of Zod, that brings us to number 1. Superman kills Zod. And I know, everyone goes insane about this one. Superman doesn't kill, Superman, he's a hero, he doesn't do this sort of thing. If he does it this time, he has free reign to just do it in all of his movies. This is a mockery of Superman's legacy. Let's all just calm down, back up a couple steps, breathe. Remember, did Superman want to do this? Did he enjoy doing this? Was this any sort of option that he looked like he would ever take again? No. He was horrified. He was disgusted with what he had to do. He broke down crying. It was obvious to anyone with half a brain watching, that this was the setup for why Superman can never kill, which is genius. This is highly connected to number 2, These are setting up Superman's rules based off actual consequences. Why does Superman hold back? Because if he doesn't, people die, things get destroyed. He can't even begin to imagine how much destruction he could cause if he just went all out every time. And why does Superman not kill? It's more than just the fact that killing is bad or good guys don't hurt people. It's the psychological and emotional trauma he caused himself by taking a life, by making himself an orphan again, because by killing Zod, he killed the last Kryptonian on the face of the planet, in the entire universe. Well, except for Kara, but that's probably not until Man of Steel 3. Hopefully there's no Supergirl spinoff, but either way. This gives Superman's rules purpose. It gives them an identity. It gives him something to overcome, a mental block or a fear, something to deal with. Because with Superman, you can't really throw that many physical difficulties at him. There's not many things that are stronger than him or faster than him or okay, there are a few things smarter than him, but that's beside the point. What you need to do for a Superman movie, especially to make it compelling, is to give him psychological conflicts, personal inner turmoil. That's how Superman can be conflicted, and that's how you add drama. Because no matter what the enemy, no matter what the odds, Superman's power is basically that he has no limits, and that he can always find the strength to be as strong as he needs to be to save the day. The trick is he mentally capable? Is he psychologically able to draw on that strength? And that's what this movie has laid the groundwork for. His mental, psychological toughness. Can he do it? How can he do it? Will he be able to face a threat like Zod again? Will he be able to defeat him without killing him? That's what this movie sets up, and I think it sets it up beautifully. And it just kills me that so many people just bash it without even really thinking, as douchey as this all sounds. So let me know in the comments if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. I'd be more than happy to debate with you through email or whatever. But yeah, let me know if you like this. Let me know if you think this would be a good series. Um, as always, I'm SSV Cloud, and truth, justice, and the American way.